I feel like I've opened the pages of a history book and taken a step into the past. But this is my kind of blast for the past, because look around. I mean, this is a feast for any automobile enthusiast's eyes. I'm here at the Cartier Concours d'Elegance, and the theme this year is all about restoration and originality. Just being here is wonderful. And like I said, if you're an enthusiast, you're going to be like me, drooling and waiting to look around.
Utterly elegant and fascinatingly articulate. 41 of the finest automobiles in India held court at the Cartier Concours this year. They came in from the 1900s all the way down to the 1950s. It must have taken a mini miracle to gather all these rare machines on one day and at one place. This miracle wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Cartier and Manvendra Singh of Barwani, the curator of the concours.
You know that you have to find these cars, convince these owners to restore them and then bring them to here. The process takes you 1.5 years, 2 years. That's the reason the concours takes every 2 years. Well, my main aim and my passion behind this whole thing is that I must represent to the world what Indian automotive heritage culture is all about. And as such, that's how I find classes. Classes that are suited to India, that are made for India, not necessarily international.
What lifts the prestige of the concours even further is the star-studded panel of jury members. And they look forward to their time in India.
I like the fact that there's still very original unrestored cars here, and I'd like to see that stay actually. A lot of the European concours and in America, the cars are really over-restored. They were never that good, you know.
And the quality of what I'm seeing today is remarkable. It's equal to the West, I would say. And some of the cars are just astonishingly well done.
Which is the one that you'd pick as a winner?
Silver Ghost of Hyderabad or the Phantom 2 Continental.
Spending a day at the concours is like traveling through time, with the cars opening up windows into different decades. But it's the history behind each car that makes the concours all the more fascinating.
This car was originally displayed in the 1934 November Paris Motor Salon, and at that time it was a 4-door saloon. The car went back to UK. It was then owned by one Mr. G.T. Wills, and then it was shipped to Calcutta from Southampton on a troop ship in 1942. That is because the merchant navy could not take private consignments.
Meanwhile, one Studebaker was getting a lot of attention too.
I bought this car about 18 years ago, and it's been lying with me in that condition from that time, in a very, very bad condition. It was a phenomenal, monumental job to restore this car to this specification. And I think most people are not aware of what it takes. Probably the judges knew what it takes, and therefore they've chosen me for the Resurrection Award. It's not just a restoration, this is a genuine resurrection. There's a big difference between the two.
It wasn't just car restoration that owners were careful about. The owner of this Landmaster from 1955 even had the original manual and the battery papers. Incredible. We even saw the winning pair of the 1952 Reims Grand Prix, Sir Sterling Moss and the first disc brake equipped car, the Jaguar C-Type, were in attendance at the concours. Earlier, we chatted with the 83-year-old former Formula One driver about his experience at the iconic Mille Miglia.
You know, I mean, in the mountains, okay, in the mountains, not bad because they can see you, and if you blow the horn, I blow the horn a lot, they can hear it. But when you're going 140, 150 miles an hour on a straight bit of road, you know, and only the trouble is that you see that the first car went to 9 o'clock at night at half-minute intervals right the way through, and then till 7:22 in the morning. Well, by then these other things have been on the road 15 hours, and then we start to catch them up at the end. And in those days the roads were very, very crowded, and of course they sit in the middle, so I'd have to pass them, and so that was the biggest problem. Really. Normally I'd learn to circuit, and so I'd start here, apex here. You can't do that in this because you don't know where the apex is when there's people standing. So all the time I'm going around the corner, and then suddenly the corner gets tighter or whatever. Then you've got to make an adjustment.
And of course, we chatted about the cars that had caught his attention at the concourse.
I thought that little Fiat 500 was very cute. You see the Fiat 500? Top of the very, very cute car, you know. But then you can't really compare that with that massive Fiat, I think it was, you know, really brutal car. You know, you can't compare one with the other.
The little red Fiat was one man's labor of love, his pride and joy.
It was absolute a derelict car, and then I said, okay, come whatever, I'll restore it to near original. I was also very fortunate that I got one help from Fiat India. There was a gentleman by the name of Enrico Ferrero. He put me in touch with an Italian who I later found out was the right-hand man of the greatest Fiat designer, Dante Giacosa, who designed the Fiat 500 in 1936. So Eduardo Magnone was Dante Giacosa's right-hand man.
It was fascinating to go through the scrapbook and the advertisements from the 1950s. It felt like deja vu.
So this is amazing. It's really been full circle. Fiat Chrysler being assembled in India way back then, and we're coming full circle with Chrysler coming back into India now. So this is how history goes.
The concourse also had a separate section for motorcycles. And what a sight it was! Just gazing at these marvelous machines, I knew I was out of my depth.
Now, I really can't claim to know too much about classic cars, classic motorcycles, but you know, it's fantastic to come here and look at all these bikes lined up. You can pretty much see the evolution of motorcycles. Just for this is from 1910. It has like a basic cycle frame and an engine stuffed in the middle, and then you can see how things just kind of change along. It's awesome.
These motorcycles came from the 1900s, so you can see the basic leaf spring suspension too. As things evolved, the springs came into action, and there were other bits too, like the outside hinges for the levers. It just looked so cool. Further ahead, you could see the suspension evolve into the regular front telescopic forks. And of course, the bikes became more and more bespoke. It is amazing to see that they are in such fantastic condition even today.
Now, amongst all these pristine, glittering motorcycles, there's this one Aegis here, owned by one Mr. Jacob Verghese, which gives you an idea of how tough it is to own a classic car or a classic bike. This gives you an idea of how much effort goes into bringing them back to life.
Collectors have to put in time, effort, and lots of money to bring these bikes back to life. Would you believe that this Indian motorcycle is nearly 100 years old?
This bike was unused for many years because the tires were not available. This was an odd size of a tire which was not available in India, and it was neither available by all the companies. So the previous owner had also tried for many years. Ultimately, for not getting it, it was not used much. It was lying in a garage. I purchased it in '82, and after that by '96-97 I had got it restored and to this level.
The Indian was beautifully turned out, and it was no surprise that it won the Best Motorcycle of the Show award. The best car of the show was the 1935 Rolls-Royce Phantom II, owned by His Highness Maharaja Gad Singh of Jodhpur. And Adil Jal Darukhanawala's little Topolino also won the Indian Heritage category. It was a great day for all these automobiles. But if you ask me, the real winner was me and all the other people who got to spend the day in such fine company. I guess we'll just have to wait until next year to do this again.